Right. So take a minute or two to write all the questions down so that later on you can go back to it and then try and see if you can solve it on your own. We have learned that we learn through repetition. So even if you make mistakes, don't be bothered. Go back, go through your solutions, and then try and solve the questions again on your own. So take a minute or two, you can pause the video, and then you write the questions down. Right. So part of solving the question is understanding what the question is demanding of you. So let's go through what the question is actually saying. It says that Essie and Fusena prepared an orange drink by mixing orange squash and water. Essie's drink was made of 2 out of 3 orange squash, and Fusena's was made up of 1/4 orange squash. Whose drink tastes stronger of orange? So Essie and the sister were trying to prepare some orange drink. That is, they were using squeezed oranges and then they will mix it with water to prepare the orange drink. So let's assume that this was Essie's cylinder or can that she was using to prepare the orange drink, and this was Fusine's can. But before adding the water, Essie poured 2 out of 3 or 2/3 orange squash into the this particular can, and then Fusina also poured 1/4 orange squash. So we can just take our data from the word problem that they have given us. From this question, we can see from here that we would need to compare the fractions to know which one is bigger. That is, we have to bring out the our knowledge of equivalent fractions to see which one is bigger, and then we can see that once that particular fraction is bigger, that particular drink will taste more, or that drink will taste stronger of orange because the fractions represents the orange squash that each of the girls poured into their drink. All right. So let's take our data. That is, Essie's fraction of orange squash was 2/3. That is, if she is to divide the orange squash into three, she used 2 out of that 3 to prepare the orange drink. And then Fusena also, if she had a full can of orange squash, she also divided it into 4 and she used just one part of the 4 to prepare the orange drink. So Fusena Essie divided her orange squash into 3 and used 2 to prepare the drink. Fusena also divided her orange squash into 4 and used only 1 to prepare the drink. So this is just a picture of what the these fractions will look like. Now, to be able to compare two fractions, we can get the the least common multiple of their denominators. That is the 3 here and the 4 here. This the least common multiple of 3 and 4 is 12. That is 3 and 4. Their LCM is 12. Knowing the least common multiple, we can then find an equivalent ratio of each of the fractions in such a way that the equivalent ratio that we will find, the denominator should be equal to the LCM that we have here. So what fraction can we multiply by 2 over 3 to get an equivalent ratio to 2 over 3 whose denominator is 12? It is going to be 4 over 4 because when I multiply 3 by 4, I'm going to get a denominator 12 here. That is 3 times 4 will give me 12. Then we multiply the numerators, that is 2 times 4 to give us 8 at the top. So I'm taking it again. We want to find equivalent fractions to 2 over 3 in such a way that they will have the same denominators. That is the reason why we looked for the LCM of 3 and 4. That is this 3 and 4 here. We want to write equivalent fractions in such a way that 2 over 3 will have an equivalent fraction that has a denominator of 12. 1 over 4 will also have an equivalent fraction that has a denominator of what? 12. So to find an equivalent fraction whose denominator is 12, we have to multiply 2 over 3 by 4 over 4, which is 1. 4 over 4 is also equal to 1. So it means we haven't done anything to the fraction. We have just multiplied it by an equivalent fraction of 1, which is 4 over 4. So 2 over 3 times 4 over 4, we multiply the numerators. 2 by 4 will give us 8, and then 3 times 4 will give us 12. Then we have to also find an equivalent fraction to 1 over 4 in such a way that that denominator also will be 12. So that is 3 over 3 because when I multiply 4 by 3, I'm also going to get 12. So when we multiply the numerators, 1 times 3 will give us the 3 here, and then 4 times 3 will also give us 12. That means we have expressed 2 over 3 and 1 over 4 in equivalent fractions that have a denominator of 12. 2 over 3, the equivalent fraction that we got was 8 over 12. And then 1 over 4, the equivalent fraction that we got was 3 over 12. So now they have the same denominators. It means we can just compare the numerators and see which one is bigger. So we have to compare the fractions now. We can see that 8, since the denominators are the same, when we are comparing just the numerators, we can see that 8 is definitely greater than 3. That means 8 over 12 is greater than what? 3 over 12. And that also implies that 2 over 3, which represents the 8 over 12, is greater than 1 over 4, which is also an equivalent fraction of 3 over 12. And then we can conclude that since 2 over 3 represents the fraction of orange squash that Essie poured into her drink, we can say that Essie's drink tasted stronger of orange. So you see, we have just read the word problem. We have been able to know that we have to use equivalent fractions to do our comparison. So we used equivalent fractions. We got the LCM of the denominators here, and then we express these fractions in equivalent ratios whose denominators are 12. We could have used different equivalent fractions, but we chose to use the LCM here. That is 3 and 4, because that is the least common multiple of 3 and 4, which is 12. We did that, and then we got equivalent fractions for 2 over 3 and then 1 over 4. We have to find equivalent fractions whose denominators are 12 because 2 over 3 and 1 over 4, by first looking at them, you wouldn't clearly see which one is bigger unless you write them in equivalent fractions that have the same denominator. So that is what we did. And when we did that, we realized that 8 over 12 is greater than 3 over 12 because once they have the same denominator, we just compare the numerator, and 8 is definitely greater than 3. So we can say that 2 over 3 is greater than 1 over 4.